Why aren't
That, like,
why
these some of the songs were
I
not.
don't know. We were just fired up. We're like, why
Yeah.
why aren't we signed to a publishing company? Why are we
Yeah.
why are we here catalog? Like, why are we doing this? Like, we got to do this. We have to convince these people to listen to our music. Like, literally, like we were trying to like get them to sign us.
This podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. We'll talk about the new record. I had a chance to listen to it this morning. It is awesome. I really like it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes. So I'd love to hear about, were you both born and raised around New York? Because I know you went to school in New York, correct?
Yeah, I grew up in Jersey. Chad grew up in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
We met at NYU.
Mm-hmm.
We were both studying music business. We met in a music publishing class, and I was looking for someone to collaborate with. I wasn't singing. I wanted to write a musical.
I was like in a band, while I was in school, but then I met Ian and it was just like, oh, we should do something.
Yeah, it just felt like I knew him forever. Like, he's my brother, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a immediate soul connection. And he pushed me to sing and managed me and wrote songs with me.
Wow.
And, that's kind of how it started. I was just like a solo artist, and
Mm-hmm.
Chad sang on some of the songs, but he was like my manager. He carried around like a portfolio.
A briefcase.
I used to wear a beret.
That's awesome. Well, okay. Can we go back a little bit then? So Chad, you're born and raised in Florida, you said?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that a little bit. What part of Florida?
I was born in a place called Port Charlotte, which is like the southwest side of Florida, and like yeah, it was a pretty small. I mean, I don't know what small is to you guys, but it was pretty small, small town, and yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was good, and then I went from Port Charlotte. Sorry, are you asking me about my emotional?
Sure. Let's hear it all.
Because I had some emotional traumatic experiences like in that spot. Convinced my family to move to Orlando, 2 hours away, and we moved there. And then that still wasn't enough for me, so I was like, I need to go even further. So I needed to go to New York, and then I applied to NYU. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
I'm sorry that happened. I mean, that sounds awful.
Oh well, it's all good. I mean, everyone's got something.
Sure. Well, how did you get into music? Was that kind of an outlet for you?
Oh yeah, that was like, I would say at like 5 years old, my mom put me in dance school, and like so I was like dancing and singing and kind of in that world for a while, and then I even did the child acting thing.
Okay.
We would go to like not Universal, Orlando for auditions like once a week. We would drive there, and as a child actor, yeah, or child.
He was on an episode of Kenan and Kel.
Oh, really? I loved that show growing up.
Yeah, I was in the movie Monster with Charlize Theron.
Or like for a split second, like
yeah,
he's
really. You went from Kenan and Kel to Monster about a serial killer. Oh wow, that's pretty funny. Okay, so child actor, did you always sing?
Yeah, I mean, I started out dancing.
Okay.
In school, but that school had like, they also had like a little wing where they would teach you how to sing and do that stuff too. So then I started singing, and like I started touring nursing homes with like this little like dance group that we had. And we toured nursing homes in like South Florida, and yeah.
And then you like tried out for like, usually like you used to like drive, like stay overnight and like try out for like American Idol and stuff.
Well, that was once, but yeah, yeah. I tried out for American Idol in Orlando. I didn't get in, so I was like, I'm gonna do it again. So then I took the Greyhound by myself to New Orleans and auditioned there. Slept over in the arena.
Oh my gosh.
I still didn't make it. But yeah.
You showed them. Obviously, it didn't matter. Wow. Okay. And then you went to NYU.
Yeah.
What about you, Ian? You're born and raised in New Jersey, you said. How did you get into music?
Just playing piano since I was like as young as I can remember. And I, took lessons, classically trained, did the whole competition thing,
Okay.
classical piano, and like I thought I would. I don't know. I guess I didn't think it was. For some reason, I was like scared to like pursue a career in music for some reason, and like I had friends that were like doing business degrees, so I was like, I'm gonna go to BU. So I went to BU my freshman year, and I went to the school of management there, and I hated it. And I would like sneak into like the fine arts program there had all these practice rooms, but you had to like have special access, and I didn't have it, so I would like wait for someone to open the door, and I got the exit, and like I would sneak in, and like just play the pianos, and then I kind of was like I gotta get out of this school, and I almost ended up doing classical piano up there,
Mm-hmm.
and then I freaked out, and I was like I can't practice for 8 hours a day. I found out about the music business program at NYU, and I was like, you know what, business, music. I didn't even know there was a music business,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what that meant, but I applied, and
How'd you find out?
I don't know.
Thank God you did.
Right, exactly. Well, classically trained piano, were you just intrigued by it as a kid, or did your parents want you to play piano?
My parents never pushed me. It's like I don't know if you believe in past lives or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if I believe in it, but
Sure.
there was something really like I just understood the piano. Like I was always comfortable. I it was like my voice when I was like hardly talking, you know? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it was that, but it's a part of me, and it always has been.
Were you writing songs, or you talked about being in competitions, but were
Yeah, I was
you
writing. I was
writing?
writing.
Okay.
I was writing these like weird these like dark like Eastern European sounding themes. I don't even know why. I don't even know where that came from. Um, but I was writing, and then um, I was writing all these ideas. I was afraid to sing because I was so insecure, and I was so scared to hear the sound of my own voice.
Wow.
So I when I met him, I was humming, and I was playing all these songs, and I was like humming them, and he's like, "Dude, why aren't you singing? You got to be singing. I'm gonna manage you. I have this management company. Here's my beret and portfolio." And then he got me a voice lesson, and I'm like, and like talk about like soul connection. Like I just met him, and like he's getting me like a voice lesson with one of the top coaches in like New York, and it's like, okay. So I took this voice lesson, and at the end of it, the the vocal coach was like, "You're a singer, you're a singer," and she just kept saying, "You're a singer" to me over and over again. I just always remember it. It was really moving, and I felt like part of me really woke up, and um, like I felt like I was hiding until that moment.
I can't believe that you never sang until you're in college. Like blows my
I
mind.
sang when I was like a tiny kid. I sang at my bar mitzvah, you know,
Yeah.
gotta sing. But that was terrifying. Um, but yeah, it was just I don't know. I guess through this whole process, him and I have like learned to like really lean into um our insecurities in a way, and like um not not be scared to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I was just gonna
Um,
say that it must have like you had just met and you were willing to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, yeah, I should take this voice lesson. I should sing. Like that to me, that's
Yeah,
pretty wild.
it's interesting that how open you were
well,
to it.
I was really open to meeting some. I was ready. I feel like my soul was ready. Like I was really lonely in the city. I transferred into the school. I didn't have any friends at the school, and I didn't have anyone to make music with, and I was ready, and like I was all into like coincidences and synchronicities, and like
Mhm.
I was convinced the universe had thrown us together. I'm still convinced, but
I would say, yeah.
at that moment, it was just the right moment for me.
Wow. And Chad, you somewhat discovered Ian in the sense of like you're like, I got my beret and my briefcase. I'm ready to manage you. Like you said you were in a band though.
Yeah, I was in a band, and but we had one gig, and it was like
It was really good.
it was a good gig, but
I was there.
Okay.
it felt like when I met Ian, all of a sudden like things things like not that my life didn't have purpose before then, but all of a sudden it was like, whoa, this is the thing. This is it. Like I just knew it was a thing you just felt. You could feel like this connection, this whatever this was where I needed to shift my focus.
Yeah, and then I remember after the first year we met each other, we both got like we had like that summer internship, wasn't it? It was a summer internship
At the publishing company.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he still had NYU housing, and I was living at my parents in Jersey, and like I would take the bus in and just like sleep on the floor in his dorm, and we would go to our internship at this publishing company, and we would have to listen to all of these songs, and this is like when the internet was like still new, so we were like, because we're old, so we were like cataloging.
Hey, we're the same age. I saw that you graduated in 2003.
We had to like catalog songs like onto their internet database, and we had to listen to all this stuff and all day, and like we were so inspired. We're like, we can do this. We can do this.
Why so much better?
Why aren't
these some of the songs were not,
I don't know, we were just fired up. We're like, why aren't we signed to a publishing company? Why are we here catalog, like why are we doing this? Like we got to do this. We have to convince these people to listen to our music. Like literally, like we were trying to like get them to sign us. So we would write songs like late at night after like we get home from work, and that's kind of how it started for us.
Wow. And then you were playing what, like as a solo artist, and Chad was managing you, like, and then how does the band come together and you guys are like, why don't we just do this as a duo?
Yeah, my first gig, we started with open mics. It was like the Sidewalk Cafe. I did an open mic there in New York, and then you like got me a gig at the Bitter End, I think. And it just started with like friends and family. Like, okay, like my parents have never heard me sing. Okay, they just heard me sing. Check. Like my friends haven't heard me sing. Like it just started like really, really small. And I guess over time it just built. And
I don't know. We were just like, okay, so we got to record something, and then we recorded something, and then we got to record more, so we recorded an EP, and then eventually that became an album, and eventually like you did your own like.
Yeah, syncs were really like TV syncs were like like really huge, and like all the reality shows on like MTV, and so we would just like
we would like submit like crazy to all
music supervisors and like do it for like free, like just let them use our music.
We would also like I don't know if this is a bribe, but we would sort of bribe them and be like,
what?
Remember we would send a whole box of peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
We would. Okay, so Ian was very much into peanut butter and jelly because he just discovered it for the first time, like right after college. And yeah, I remember
we'd send people like brown paper bags with like lunch. It was just we just did like
that's brilliant
for people to remember us.
Yeah, we wanted people to, like, listen, and then we wrote we went to an epic New Year's party one year, and like we wrote a song called "This Is the New Year" about a week after that, and like that, and then I started singing on that song, and that was sort of the start of it. It was like, and then we were like, whoa, our voices together sounded.
Yeah, we had never really sang together.
Oh, that was the first time you guys had sang together.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we started performing this song, and it was Ian Axel featuring Chad, and like he would come up and sing this one song, and like that song became the highlight of every show. Yeah. And people wanted more Chad, so we kept writing for Chad, and long story short, like I had my solo thing going on. I was signed to like this indie label, and then the timing was just like perfect. The label folded, and me and Chad were like on our own. We're like, let's restart. Let's join forces. Let's be a great big world. And we started the band on Kickstarter. I think we were called Ian and Chad then.
Yeah, for like a split second, we were Ian and Chad.
We didn't have a band name yet.
Okay. And that's amazing that you're able to get an EP out of a Kickstarter campaign.
We did. Yeah. We did. It was produced by. It was the beginning of our first record. It eventually turned into a record. It was produced by Dan Romer, and and we just. Yeah,
Dan Romer now is like on top of the world. I don't know if you know much about Dan, but Dan is like
Uh-uh.
scoring Pixar movies
But
and
he just scored Luca, and he's like
Wow.
he's in LA doing the whole film scoring thing. But he's brilliant, and
yeah.
we're just so happy for his success.
That's really cool. That is really cool. And with obviously with the song, it does amazing. You know, once you guys start singing together, you get the Kickstarter and it becomes what you said you're talking about writing for Pitch, but it makes it as like what the theme song for MTV, like one of their reality shows. I mean,
So all that like gimmicky stuff we were doing before with Ian's music,
okay.
con- it connected us to these music supervisors that actually once we had This Is the New Year, they remembered us. And that's when that same music supervisor, one of the same music supervisors, reached out about This Is the New Year on
I don't even remember
MTV.
that.
Yeah, I remember on MTV's I Used to Be Fat.
Uh-huh.
But it was from the connection we made years ago. It was so cool.
And then and then that song just had legs, and eventually it was on Glee, and that
Right,
was
which is
kind of like,
huge.
yeah, that was really the beginning of like our music, and like on in like a totally big, like a way bigger spotlight suddenly, and
Mhm.
that was kind of when it changed for us.
Was that when you get involved with like Epic Records and like major labels are coming to you?
Yeah, that's when
That
we got
must have been
signed
exciting.
to Epic, and yeah,
That was very exciting.
it was so surreal, you
That
know.
is crazy. Yeah.
You
And
never
you
know.
have
You just have to like, you don't know how the dots connect, and we're like really fortunate, and you definitely need luck, is
mhm.
but we were lucky.
Well,
At the same time,
lucky and you have the obviously the songs to back it up.
thanks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think of it, like, so you had This Is the New Year, and then you had this massive song. Are you worried, like, are we going to be able to follow this up? And you obviously do with Say Something, and that's like, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing that song for a number of years.
I It was an interesting moment, because you know, a lot of people like were hearing This Is the New Year like from Glee and stuff, and then Epic was pushing it on the radio, and it like wasn't really working at
Hmm.
radio, and we didn't know what was next for us. And like, honestly, like, the record wasn't out yet. We didn't know our future with the label, and out of nowhere, So You Think You Can Dance reached out to us about Say Something, because we had an earlier version of the song. So the song had come out years before, when I was a solo artist still,
Hmm.
and it found its way into like the dance community, and all these dance companies were using it. It was, it was just kind of out there doing its own thing. And Stacy Tukey, at the choreographer on the show, wanted to use it, and we had actually just re-recorded it for A Great Big World, and we're like, well, don't use that version. Use this new version. It's not out yet. We got our label to throw it up on iTunes, and like the next day, like it was like reacting like crazy. Like no one saw this coming. And then before you know it, someone played it for Christina, and then she reached out to us, and about doing a version together. So
That's
it was
crazy. And
wild.
you've worked with her on a few songs, even on this new record. You have a song with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we just recently did Fall on Me with her,
Hmm.
as well. So that's another song. But that it was between Fall on Me and Say Something for our first record. Like we wanted to put one of those on this record. We already had those written, and we were just like, there's something about these two,
They're like
but they both can't exist on the record. We have to pick one.
they're like cousins. The
Yeah,
songs.
and so we picked Say Something, and it's amazing that it just happened that Christina also resonated with Fall on Me.
Yeah, we always wanted to do another. I mean, I obviously, like, I'll do a million collaborations with Christina. Like, I always want to
Sure.
collaborate with Christina. But it was like always something that, like, the door was always open for another opportunity, and um we we ended up, Andrea Bocelli ended up cutting Fall on Me,
Hmm.
and it and had like some really great success with the song. And then we're like, we should do our own version, and then we're like, we should see if Christina wants to do it with us, and so we sent it to her.
Wow. And she obviously was on board, and that's crazy. How cool. And the next record you guys did was When the Morning Comes.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you say like the big takeaway, like highlights from that album were?
I mean, for me, there's a song that I proposed to my wife with
Wow.
called "One Step Ahead." So that was a really big
That's huge.
moment for me, and still one of our favorite songs we've ever written. We wrote it with Josh Keir, who's this incredible songwriter in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
did you play it for her? Or that was how you proposed?
yeah. Well, we had it. So we wrote it with Josh. I made a demo, and then I got back to New York, and I was in my pajamas, and I had the ring in my pocket, and I was like, Lena, can you just I want to play you this song. And she's like, okay. And I sat her down on my computer and I just blasted it. And I was like behind her, like shaking. And like, she after the song, she looked at me and she was crying because it was like really, it's really about our relationship and
Mhm.
like really specifically. And then I got down on one knee and
That is so cool.
yeah.
What a great moment. Wow. What would you say, Chad? What would be that's a huge, huge takeaway, obviously. What would you say, Chad?
I don't know. I mean, I really am fond of "Where Does the Time Go"
Hmm.
on the record, and that was also written with Josh Keir
Wow.
on that record. But "Where Does the Time Go" for me, I don't know. I'm very I have like this soul spiritual piece to me that like I don't know that song. I feel like definitely we definitely wrote it when I was feeling these things. Oh wait, we wrote it when you were moving out with Lena to your own apartment. It was the first time. So me and Ian were roommates after college, and like for years after college, and then once he met Lena, and they were their relationship was progressing. They moved out, or Ian moved out of the apartment that we were in together.
It was a new chapter for our relationship. I
Yes,
don't,
and that's where does the time go came from, because like we were in boxes, like the apartment was in boxes, and I just remember playing or like having that idea come, and like I don't know, for me it just that speaks to like a spirituality, or lands on like a spirituality that like I think also this new record does too, that I think resonates a whole lot with me.
Hmm.
how does it land on the spirituality?
What, the new record?
No, where does the time go?
Oh, I mean, just in general. I mean, where does the time go? It's like I don't know, just in the vibe of it. It just feels very introspective, very, but also like, what is this? It has like the meaning of life. That it's
Yeah,
that vibe.
we write a lot about we I mean we have a habit of writing about like big things.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Wow. And well, you've had a few years between that record and the one that's coming out in what if you in next Friday, right? Next week. You put out some singles there. Was there like what was there a reason behind the gap in the records?
There were a lot of reasons. Uh, we we made a record when we were when we were with Epic.
A third record.
Yeah, we made a
Hmm.
third record. We started putting out some music. We like one or two songs. We just
Yeah.
started, and then we ended up leaving like mutually, like totally in a friendly way. We left the label
Hmm.
Before that album
before the
came
album
out.
came out. So that took a while.
And then we got on. We were signed to an indie label called S Curve Records.
Okay, I know
Yeah,
Esker.
with BMG, and we ended up, you
And then
know,
we created another album
or like
with
kind of like a
them.
hybrid
Hmm.
of the old record and the new record, and then we did "Follow Me" with Christina. We put out "Follow Me," and then the pandemic happened.
And during this time, the S Curve
They
S
left
Curve,
BMG,
yeah.
or like they folded, or I don't know what happened, but
Hmm.
we left S Curve. So
Oh
that took
wow.
a long time, and our music was
Sure.
like held up, and we were just like sitting around waiting. And then we signed with now we're like truly independent. We're with a distribution company called In Grooves,
That's
and
amazing.
yeah,
And and
Wow.
and I think we just wanted to. And I mean, the pandemic sort of forced us to like live in this world, live in this sort of a box, but live in this world, and write and record in this thing. I don't know, incubation. I don't know how you want to call it, but like I feel like I'm really proud of this new record because it sounds like a cohesive thing. I think it does.
Hmm.
And that's because it was sort of written and recorded a lot during this pandemic time.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was that I was going to ask you about that. So a lot of these songs were written, recorded during the past year and a half.
Like right before the pandemic and then
Hmm.
during the pandemic.
So yeah, Fall on Me came out before the pandemic, and then but then the pandemic hit a few months after Fall on Me. So
And we
then,
just kept writing and
yeah,
trying to record like at the pace of a snail because everyone's remote and but we kept going until like literally like we needed to submit a record and because it needed to come out and so
Hmm.
um it's been a long process.
Mm.
So it's kind of surreal that we're here
And
and yeah, it really is.
that's cool. I love the record. I love how you said it's kind of a cohesive piece because it's an album that you put on, you listen to the thing all the way through. It's not like a lot of artists now, it's just like putting a single out and then waiting on the single. And then it's like, I'm going to put another single out. It's kind of that game. But with this album, it's like it kills all the whole way through. And it does have that cohesive piece to it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a lot of the same group of people working on every song
Hmm.
in different capacities and different roles. But it's really like all the same family of musicians and friends.
Hmm.
And a lot of it scored like the strings are done by Rob Moose, who's he's brilliant. He's a part of Y Music, and I feel like his arrangements kind of really help tie the record together because he's on. I want to say like at least half of the record are his arrangements.
Wow.
So it definitely fits in the world. It's our first record was very all over the place. Like we had a song "Everyone Is Gay" and
Hmm.
say something like on the same record, and you couldn't have like two like
polar
opposite.
opposites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this record is not so much that. It's kind of a similar tone throughout.
Sure. I didn't realize until today actually that Boys in the Street was a cover song. And I listened to that your version. I haven't even went back and listened to the original version, but when I was listening to it, I was like, gosh, this is such a heavy song. And the way you
Yeah.
guys do it is incredible. And then you get to the last verse and it's like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah, that song is incredible. That was written by a friend of ours. His name's Greg Holden, and like we were on tour with Greg, and Greg was playing that song, and I was listening to it for the first time side stage, and just like for the like broke down. I've never broke down like crying at a song like that, and it just resonated so deeply. I was like, we have to cover this. I just knew then we had to cover that song.
yeah, it's heavy. I mean, I could totally see that because just
Yeah.
listening to it in my car, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to hit home to so many people.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
like,
so glad you're saying that. Thanks.
yeah, yeah, no, it's in the like I said, I haven't heard the other version. I thought you guys did it. I mean, it's so good. And I love the song "Glowing" that you did on was it live with Ryan and Kelly?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What was that performance like?
The performance it went really well. I mean, it was a little scary because we hadn't performed in a while, and also
Because
it.
of COVID restrictions, they only allowed 3 people on stage.
So we're very exposed, and we're
Well,
not.
yeah, it's you and a violin, the two of you and a
Yeah,
violinist.
yeah, and we're very out of practice, and it was a very like exposing performance. So I thought it went really well.
I thought so. I thought you guys sounded great.
Thanks.
'Cause on the record, the song is like so orchestral and so big.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we wrote that song with our friend Bess Rogers, and it's actually interesting because she had a song on an old record, um, and um, we're fans of her music, so we're writing this new song, and like we accidentally sing one of this melody that she had, and it's from a song called "Standing Tall,"
Mm.
and we're like, no, we can't use that. That's Bess's song. So we're like, let's continue to write something else. And we just couldn't. We just fell in love with like this, like her melody and some of her lyrics and like this new song that we were writing. So then we called her. We're like, hey Bess, like this is gonna sound really weird, but are you open to writing a song with us, but using parts of another song of yours?
That you already wrote. Yeah.
And she totally was, and we made this really really beautiful song. And for me, it was like when my kid was born, I would sing it as a lullaby to him. And but I was really like singing it to myself too, because I was, it's scary bringing a kid into the world.
Sure.
And also I have like my own mental stuff that I'm dealing with, with OCD and like stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it was kind of like, it was really like therapeutic for me to like write that song and sing it. And just really important song for us. So love how it came out.
Hmm.
And um yeah, I always imagine this like storm coming through, and this like family huddled together with like a love shield around them, like deflecting the storm. And so we tried to capture those visuals in the recording.
I love it. It's a great song, and the performance was amazing. You said that you hadn't performed together in a while, or was it just in
It
front
was,
of people?
We just haven't performed together.
yeah, I feel like it's
Wow.
like since the pandemic started. Yeah.
We did a couple of Zoom things, but we were so out of practice, and also felt like we feel like different people. And so it's like finding ourselves as artists again.
Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
No, it totally does.
Yeah.
Do you have a chance, aside from those Zoom things, do you have anything coming up as far as live performances to support the record?
Yeah, we're just talking about it. I mean, it's like it's hard in the COVID world. And
Sure.
but New York has like these new policies with vaccinations. And we're talking about potentially doing a show pretty soon. So
That's exciting.
yes, there will be
Very,
pretty soon.
that is awesome. What are you most excited for people to hear on the new record?
I know what I'm gonna say.
I think I know what you're gonna do. But go ahead, because I'm probably gonna say it too.
I'm gonna say a song called "Can We Go Back Home."
Yeah, me too.
I
Um,
love that song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Thanks. It's I feel like it's one of my favorite things we've ever recorded. And I feel really connected to something bigger when I sing it. And I don't know, it just feels really like a powerful one for me.
Hmm.
And it's like not like it's like a little, it's a little, it's a little out there. Like it's like you need to have patience with it when you listen to it. I mean, not out there, but it's just like it's kind of got like a
Yeah, slow
slow
build, and then it gets
build.
really epic at the end.
Yeah, you have to hang out with it.
And I also feel like because of this pandemic we've all been through, like I feel like we're all in a place where we are open to listening to something like this. Like I feel like it's timely. I feel like there's a time that this can really resonate. And I believe that now is that time because of what we've all been through.
I mean,
Mhm.
I
I'm
hope,
hoping. Yeah.
like it's like hard. And I mean, it's easy and hard in a world where like you only have 15 seconds, and you have to capture people's attention, or they're on to the next thing. And
Mhm.
so I think with a lot of our music, you definitely need to slow down to listen to it. And we hope people enjoy it and connect to it.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like that song, like you said, it's like what, about 5 minutes long, right? And
Yeah.
it has like the slow build, and then at the end, it's just like it's huge. I really enjoy it. I also really like the song "Here Without You."
Wow, cool. We wrote that's awesome. We wrote that with Josh Keir too.
We love writing with Josh Gear.
That's a great song. That was
Cool.
like one of the most when I was like like I said, the whole record's rad, but I went back and I was like, what was that one? Oh, number 6. Okay, I got to remember that. Like, that's a great. I want to ask him about that song.
That's
I
awesome.
think that's like one of our probably most like pop leaning
Yeah.
tracks on the record.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I feel like that's just a well crafted pop song. Um, kind of more like typical like structure.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I think it's a great song. My wife loves that song. It's like one of her favorite songs on the record too.
It's definitely more upbeat than some of the other songs on the album.
Yeah, like most of the record is not that
Not upbeat, but it's got like some it's got a beat behind it, you know.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty depressing song still.
Well, I think the record's rad. It comes out on the 27th, coming up next Friday. That's pretty exciting. Are you guys doing anything to celebrate the album?
We're doing like a Zoom album listening party with our fans.
Oh, cool.
Before. And then on the day of the show, we're talking about doing some surprise little performance in the city somewhere. So we're still working on the details on that. And other than that,
yeah, I don't know. We've been releasing. It's been really cool because we've been releasing songs every couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's been really cool to see like that people are still with us. Like even like today we released a new song, a song called Mama.
Mama. Mm-hmm.
And like it's really awesome to feel like our fans still they like even like,
they still like us.
They still like each song that is coming, and that's it's making me more excited about the record.
Yeah, because like it's so crazy to share it, you know, like it's like the whole other part of it. It's we've at first we write and make the music for us, and we're so in our own little bubble, and for years this has been, and then now the other part of it is just putting it out there in the world, and letting the songs do their own thing and connect to people and take us where they want us to take us, if they want us to take us anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different mindset for both of us right now.
I love it. And thank you both so much for talking with me today. I appreciate it. And Chad, you guys have been great.
Oh man.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Fun. I have one more question for you both. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yeah. I would say as long as you are staying true to like your heart, your soul, the feeling of like this feels like me, then like there's not going to be a wrong way to go about this thing, and about writing, about like being a part of the music industry, whatever it is. As long as you're staying true to like who you are and like that piece, I think there's no wrong way to go. That would be my advice. So like, yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add.
I like that.
I would say that it's like really easy to compare yourself to like other people, or like look at what other people are doing, like I want to do that, which is awesome, but also know that everyone can do their own thing that no one else can do. So no one can do what you can do. And really lean into that. Like you have your own voice, and your own and music will, or art will run through you in its own unique way, and that no one else can do. So don't forget that, and lean into that, and celebrate that. And yeah.
To add to that, like I feel like no one can write a great big world song like me and Ian. You know what I mean? I just feel like we landed on like, okay, this is how to write a great big world song. That's how I feel. So it's
yeah,
like what is your sound? What are you?
And like we'll never be able to do what
anyone else
does. Like artists that we look up to, being like, I wish we did that. Damn, like we'll never be able to do that.
Yeah.
Like it's like so easy to do that,
and that's like, okay.
And like, why don't I just give up now? Because that's like, you know, like it's so easy to like your mind gets in the way. But that's totally okay, because just focus on what you do, and celebrate, you know, your uniqueness, and yeah. Bringing it backwards.